everyone, it's Jack from Cultaholic.com back again with some more lovely wrestling news. Apologies if I'm a bit tired or a bit irritable, but myself and Owen, our editor, we live in a place in Newcastle, right, that has just been constantly bombarded overnight by the sound of like a bell or an alarm, and it's just been going off all night and all into the like today as well, and I can't do it anymore. Anyway, let's take a look at the headlines. First of all, we take a look at the original plan for this week's very divisive Raw Women's title match that we saw between Sasha Banks and Asuka. Next up, a former WWE Superstar claims that he stopped caring before his release. And finally, Netflix's wrestling series Glow has received several Emmy nominations. So first of all, and by the way, the bell is around the back of the building where our bedrooms are, not the living room area where this video is being recorded, hence why you can't share in the joy of the bell. Anyway, let's talk about that Sasha Banks and Asuka title match. So basically, for those who didn't see Raw this week, it was the rematch between Asuka and Sasha Banks for the Raw Women's Championship, because it ended in strange circumstances at Extreme Rules, with Bayley putting the ref shirt on, counting the 4 for Sasha, and then Stephanie McMahon demanding a rematch between the two to sort out who the champion actually was. And so on this week's Raw, it was Sasha Banks who won via countout to become the new Raw Women's Champion. She, like Bayley, is now a double champ, holding the Raw Women's Championship and the tag belt, and Bayley has the other tag belt and the SmackDown Women's Championship. It's a bit of a two-man power trip situation, and various people have said it reminds them of that storyline on social media this week. However, apparently it wasn't the original plan. Yes, according to Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio, this was not WWE's initial plan, which was that Asuka was actually meant to beat Sasha Banks, so they've done a complete 180 there. Asuka was apparently supposed to hold the belt all the way up until at least SummerSlam and possibly beyond, but minds were changed just hours before the TV taping took place. Bit of a sickener for Asuka, that really. Oh, welcome to work, Asuka. Thanks for coming along once again to the Performance Center. You are losing your belt. And this is a remarkably similar situation. I've got a bit of deja vu, because in the aftermath of Extreme Rules, it was reported that the original plan was for Asuka to just win that match, defeat Sasha Banks, and things would keep moving. But instead we got that messy finish, which led to this week's rematch. And then this week, again, the original plans are reportedly, supposed to have been that Asuka was going to win, and then minds were changed at the last minute and Sasha Banks won. So in both cases, Asuka has been kind of hard done by here, and you do have to feel sorry for her. Apparently, again, according to this Wrestling Observer Radio edition, apparently Kairi was meant to get injured by somebody. Kairi Sane, that is, of course, Asuka's tag partner. She was meant to get injured by somebody, and then Asuka was going to face whoever injured her, possibly like Shayna Baszler or somebody, at SummerSlam. Instead, Kairi got attacked, not so much injured, but attacked by Bayley backstage during this title match. Obviously, Asuka ran to the back to help her. Sasha stayed in the ring, won by countout, and is now the champion. And now we don't know what Asuka's doing at SummerSlam. Maybe she'll be facing Bayley for the SmackDown Women's title. I honestly don't know. It's a very strange state of affairs, and big names were chiming in from all over the place. First of all, let's take a look at what Ember Moon had to say. Ember was speaking on her Twitch stream recently and said, "Why do we need 2 double champions? Is SummerSlam going to be like low-key Evolution, with Sasha and Bayley wrestling for their singles titles, but also for the tag titles? Is that a thing? Are we just reliving Triple H and Steve Austin two-man power trip from 2001? Sasha and Bayley have done a great job with a limited roster, but there are too many people sitting at home to tie up all of the titles with just 2 people." And she goes on to say, the match was superb, but also she didn't like knowing that it was Kairi Sane's last appearance. So maybe she says if that's probably not the right way to go. I don't know. It's a lot of interesting points there raised by Ember Moon in kind of a very fair fashion. Ember then makes a point that I totally agree with regarding the finish of the match, because in the match itself you had Kairi backstage as kind of like a damsel in distress, and Asuka had to run and save her, forgetting that Kairi is like a former NXT Women's Champion and should be very capable of holding her own in a backstage brawl. So Ember says, "I think you have to have Bayley beat up Kairi and have her with a forklift about to drop some cinder blocks on her, while Asuka has Sasha in the Asuka lock," meaning that it's a total life or death situation, or at least serious injury situation, and that's why Asuka has to abandon the match and her title, not just to save her pro wrestler friend from getting beaten up by another pro wrestler. Ember said, "I think this finish was supposed to make us angry, and it did. It did make us angry," and she said that's kind of what WWE does, and it worked, so kudos to them. While I agree that maybe they did it to rile people up, I don't know if I agree with her saying, "and it worked, so hooray." Why don't they make content that people enjoy? No, never mind. Some of the product is enjoyable, of course. And another big name to comment on the match itself was WWE Hall of Famer Snoop Dogg, who of course is Sasha Banks' cousin. He on Instagram shared a picture of Sasha Banks holding the belt and wrote, "Congrats to my little cousin Sasha Banks. The champ is here." Thanks, Snoop D-O-double-G. Great to hear from you as always. Next up, let's talk about this WWE superstar who said they just stopped caring before being released earlier this year, and it's the man himself, EC3. EC3 was speaking on Busted Open Radio and was asked if anybody had his corner in WWE, and he said that he thinks, yes, he did have people in his corner trying to, push him backstage to Vince McMahon, but they didn't really say anything. They would say to EC3, "Oh, you're so good, why aren't they letting you talk, why aren't they letting you wrestle?" But then they go into meetings with Vince and, well, in his own words, no one wants to rock the boat. They would say, "I can't believe they're misusing you." Well, they are in production meetings, they could say something. EC3 also says that he had good one-on-one chats with Vince, and he said he'd been through the waiting for hours in the hallway just for a chance to speak one-on-one with Vince, which Eric Young alluded to not really caring about doing in a recent shoot interview because, he's a grown man and he doesn't want to wait for hours in a hallway like some kid to talk to the boss. And I totally understand both points of view, But EC3 says that Vince saw him for what he was. He says, "I look good, I work good, but I'm not the workhorse." But he doesn't make money off those guys. He makes money off guys with charisma, which I have. He goes on to say that whatever promo Vince saw of me, he saw one and thought it was over the top. But that was only one, and I can always scale it back. Yeah, that is strange. EC3 says he pitched him a bunch of different things. There was a video I shot with Drake Maverick, and we think this will be great, and then it never happens. After a while, he becomes so desensitized, and I will take accountability that I stopped caring because nothing mattered. And then he said that he totally admitted that towards the end he was fully to blame for his career not going anywhere in WWE because he just stopped caring and stopped trying because nothing he pitched was working. It's that old thing, isn't it? It's that old story of, people saying that, "Oh, you've really got to fight backstage in WWE to become a big star, to get the pushes you deserve." But then again, often it just depends who you are. And for whatever reason, Vince didn't see EC3 as that guy. It is a shame because fans of EC3 will know that he is a tremendous, I think first of all, he hasn't given himself enough credit in the ring. I think he's really good in the ring, but also, as he correctly points out, he has charisma for days and is a tremendous talker, and I don't get why they never let him talk. Next up, let's talk about Mustafa Ali because, he came back recently on Raw, didn't he? And it was quite exciting, teaming with Cedric and Ricochet, the big babyface who we haven't seen for a while, coming back in, getting the crowd on his side, losing clean to Bobby Lashley this week and tapping out for an absolute age. It was really weird, wasn't it? Why did they make his return the previous week feel like such a big deal and then the following week just have him lose to Lashley straight away? They fed him to Lashley completely. And Ali's the sort of guy who, really has an upside if he was pushed more, I feel. And I'm not the only person who thinks that, because Mick Foley was talking about this on social media. After Ali's loss, Foley tweeted that at Ali WWE brings so much to the WWE table. Class act, outstanding wrestler, huge potential for international attention as well. Why make him seem like just another guy? And honestly, Mick, I totally agree. And I don't know either. And another thing, right, and this has been talked about online quite a lot as well, what happened with the hacker on SmackDown? Because now that Ali's on Raw, I guess he wasn't the hacker ever, even though there were strong rumours and strong reports that Ali was supposed to be the SmackDown hacker who got involved in the Otis and Ziggler storyline, and then nothing ever came of it. It's not even like it was taken off Ali, the idea, and given to somebody else. There were rumours that it would be Chad Gable as well, potentially. No one's the hacker. It's just been dropped. It is one of my least favourite things in WWE, when a storyline is just dropped before it even begins. I hate it when this happens so much. I hope further down the line it does come back and we do eventually get a hacker reveal. I hope that it hasn't just been nixed for good, but at the same time, there have been storylines that have just disappeared in the past. I really hope this isn't one of them. Shifting our attention now to tonight's wrestling action, we already know on the AEW side of things that Cody will be defending his TNT Championship against Warhorse, making his AEW debut. Bit of a character, Warhorse, if you're not too familiar with him. He's kind of like an old school throwback to like the Road Warriors or the Ultimate Warrior, all power and pain and yeah, but done in kind of a knowing way. It's very interesting, so definitely check that out if you haven't seen Warhorse already. But also, a big match has been announced for for NXT. William Regal, of course the GM of NXT, tweeted, "After the comments made by two of our competitors this past week, I am making it official for tomorrow's episode of NXT on the USA Network. It will now feature Roderick Strong taking on Johnny Gargano one-on-one." That's because both Gargano and Roderick Strong were part of a triple threat match to qualify for the ladder match for the North American Championship at the next TakeOver 30. But neither Strong nor Gargano won that match. It was instead won by Bronson Reed. So now it looks like this could transition into a feud between Strong and Gargano, which I am partly in favour of because I think they're both brilliant in the ring, and I think it could turn out some very, very, very good matches. But I'm a little bit hesitant because obviously both guys are heels. Strong is a member of the Undisputed Era, Gargano is a heel as well, so I don't know who people are going to get behind here. But I think as well, with Adam Cole losing the NXT title and going a bit off the deep end on Pat McAfee's show, that was definitely a shoot, I wonder if this is, we're getting towards the end of the Undisputed Era, and if so, is Strong going to be the breakout singles star? I would suggest that if the era does come to an end, Kyle O'Reilly is the guy you're looking at as the babyface breakout star because he's hilarious. And Strong, I feel like, is just such a natural heel, and anyone who's seen him on the indies before WWE will know how effective a heel he can be. I don't know. It's an interesting one, isn't it? What do you think? If the Undisputed Era were to break up, what direction do you see everybody going in? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And finally, Netflix's series Glow, starring Alison Brie, of course, and various figures from the wrestling world making cameo appearances here and there, has, and I should not even just cameo appearances, Awesome Kong is a bloody regular cast member. Anyway, Glow has been receiving several Emmy nominations as we approach awards season. Good for them. The nominations that Glow has received are as follows. So Betty Gilpin, who plays Liberty Bell, kind of the counterpoint to Alison Brie's character on Glow, was nominated for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Comedy Series. It's the second year in a row that Gilpin has received that nomination. But Glow also received 2 nominations in additional categories, not for any one specific member of the cast, but instead more general nominations for their production. So one of them was Outstanding Production Design for a Narrative Program, half hour, for the episode Up, 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 and also Outstanding Sound Editing for a comedy or drama half hour for the episode The Libertines. Great band. And I think it's fully deserved because when I first heard about Glow, I was skeptical like a few years ago when Glow was first, about to debut, because I thought whenever wrestling is represented in the mainstream media featuring big time Hollywood actors and actresses, it's often misrepresented or made to look overly cartoonish or silly, and you never really get a real sense of what pro wrestling fans know wrestling to be. I think Glow has been quite a faithful depiction of what wrestling is like. Yes, it's a little bit over the top because it's a drama series, and of course you want it to be like that, and there's all the interplay between different characters behind the scenes, but I think on the whole, it's quite a good reflection of what wrestling is. Certainly better than like 90% of other representations of wrestling out there outside of the actual wrestling bubble. So good stuff to Glow there. Hopefully they win all of those awards. I don't know what else is up for nomination at the Emmys. And yeah, richly deserved stuff. And if you've never seen Glow, check it out, because we're all, we're in the middle of a pandemic. There's nothing else to do. Thanks very much for watching this video. I've been Jack from Cultaholic.com. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on any of these stories down in the comments section below. And stay safe out there. Stay positive. I hope the bell stops ringing behind my house. And I'll see you soon.